Are we good?
Are we good?
Are we good? We're super good.
Yeah. That even feel better. Hold up. Shit even feel better. Taking you to the other terrain. We mad strictly for the green.
Okay, that's 30 seconds.
Ooh.
That intro is a little longer than I remembered.
Right, yeah. Super fresh beats, though.
That's
I like that.
Flip Mode Squad meets Def Squad.
Is it?
It's on the Busta Rhymes album, The Coming.
So good.
Back when I better not say too much because Busta Rhymes has been known to track people down.
He may come get you, bro.
He's jacked.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, he went wild there for a while. I
But-
haven't seen him for a bit.
Well, he went straight up like, I don't even care that you know I'm on steroids.
Right.
And got huge mungus. But when he was still in Flip Mode Squad,
Keeping us all in
like
check.
this one has Lord Have Mercy, the MC.
Right, yeah,
Remember that dude?
Yep.
That guy was just rough.
Yeah.
Like, what are we suburban white boys always talking about hip hop for?
I don't know. It's so
Canadian
good, though.
suburban white boys, no less. Anyway, Flip Mode Squad with Busta Rhymes was one of my favorites. Redman was on this one. Jamal, Keith Murray, like Rampage.
Just nailing it.
Yeah. Matt, so Matt's in the house. What's up, Matt? I'm doing good. Yeah, Matt's doing good. He's our Google guy. So we're having to improvise a little bit because thanks Greco Orleans for hosting us. But like, what's up with having like clients when we're here recording so we can't use the big screen TV
Life's tough, man.
and take over your espresso machine? Yeah. Well, he just got big, and now I feel like that he's old enough now that it might turn all into fat.
It's getting weird. It's looking weird. Like that picture, like for.
But anyway, back in the day. Oh man, no, he's thick. Oh man, he is thick.
He's thicker than a Snickers. This boy.
Thicker than a Snickers. He's like a king size Mr. Big.
Yeah, that's right, for sure.
I'm not saying that because he's black. I'm just saying that because that's a big ass chocolate bar. Yeah, remember when he was
Him
in?
and Dr. Dre both blew up.
Well, no, Dre just looks like an older guy who got in shape. Clear, like, hey, look, even I take TRT.
Right.
I'm not even gonna lie to anybody. When I do my bodybuilding contest, if they say, "Hey, are you on anything?" I'm be like, "TRT, take it or leave it." But I for me, it was after the injury.
Yeah.
Went and got my levels tested because I heard on the Joe Rogan podcast that can really affect you. And the more they research it, but you got to be careful because that research happens to be funded by companies that make TRT.
Right. Yes.
And it says if you take TRT, you'll feel better.
I will.
Interesting.
I'll take 2, please.
Yeah, that's the one thing about studies. You always got to make sure who funded it. Like people.
Yeah.
I heard that if you if you drink this kind of water and not that kind of water, it's better. And it's like, who told you that? Somebody that bottles the other kind of water?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but anyway, that's our intro song. Flip Mode meets Def Squad. And if you don't like it, oh well. This is the Jody Mitic podcast, episode 14.
Oh, yes.
What? 14 already.
Yeah.
14.
And that's it.
What's that?
And I said, and that's it. It's already, but it's also, that's it. Only 14?
You're right.
Yeah.
It feels like, I guess we were talking about that earlier. Like it's really, I was obsessing over a few things. And then it's just like, wait a minute, we're only at episode 14.
Still a little baby.
We don't need
Still wet behind the ears.
We're not Joe Rogan. We're not Fighter and the Kid.
No.
We're not Sam Harris.
No, we're not.
We're not any of those big podcasts. One day, I got advised by other politicians again this week that I can't do these things because I'm a politician now.
Maybe they're jealous.
No. It's not that they're jealous at all. Actually, it was good advice that I appreciate. but I just got to keep being me.
There you go.
I'm just going to do me, y'all.
Yep.
I'm going to be me. You be you. And if I get unelected because of some tweets in a podcast, that's the beautiful part about democracy.
There you go.
No, I'm serious. I'm not
Yeah.
even kidding.
No, that's true.
Democracy is about votes and not AK-47s to people's heads.
That's right.
That's the best part about it. I swore up to and including my life to defend it.
What do you got?
I'm just getting love notes. Not really. It's people at work. Sorry, I'm going to turn this off. My
Not a
bad.
love
My
note.
bad, dog. My bad. It's been a week, and it's
Yeah.
only like day 2 of a short week,
That's right.
right?
So the heat is on. Lots
The
to do.
heat is on. It's
So
on
good.
the street.
So good.
I'm so bad at singing.
No, it sounded really nice.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
no.
Yeah. No, it did. Thought my earphones were broken.
Fuck yourself. Speaking of earphones,
Hey.
we don't have any sponsors this week because I don't see any coffee in front of me.
No.
And except, well, like for Greco Orleans.
Yep.
Thank you so much for sponsoring us. And Tribe. You know, I got to remember to address everyone. Remind ourselves that we're a tribe, we're a family, we're a group, we're like-minded individuals coming together as one to make Ultron.
Yes.
No, not really, but you know, we're all together. Yeah. Speaking of headphones,
Yeah.
iPhone 7 got announced.
Yes, I heard that.
Sounds dope.
I'm so behind.
People are pissed off about this whole 100-year-old technology being finally getting rid of.
Yeah, what's the deal? Well, like what? Like rejoice. It's 2016.
I've been waiting for something better than a headphone jack since I figured out the headphone jack was around since they invented the telephone.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
been a long time.
like the old-timey movies where they show like the lady sitting at the table going, "Oh, you can take your call now," and she's like plugging in one, and
She's
she's
working
got the
the
big
switchboard?
the big spider web of wires in front of her, and she's
That's
like, "Oh,
right.
Mabel, you can take your call now with Mary Beth over there." Yeah.
right.
Oh, yeah, your call. You must deposit a dime to continue with your call. You know, like that's.
Yeah.
I think the audio jack was invented over 100 years ago.
Right.
Super analog.
Yep.
And like I didn't believe it, but like when they got rid of coax
Right.
and went with HDMI
Yeah.
for my TV,
Way better.
way better picture,
Yes.
way better sound. On my back speakers, because my living room is open concept,
Yep.
so you've been to my house.
Yep.
Right. Basically, the main floor is a little bit like a racetrack in that you can go all the way around, and that's
Yeah,
for
it
the
is.
wheelchair. And we had to knock out some walls and blah blah blah. So in order to have wired rear surround sound speakers, we would have had to like run them along the ceiling
Right.
or like through the ceiling,
Yeah.
which would have cost beaucoup d'eau.
For sure.
And I think the guy was even say he's like, yeah, I mean, I'll do anything you want for money.
Right. Yeah.
But then he
I'll tear
like
apart this whole ceiling
yeah,
for you. No
he
problem.
was like, he looked at it and he was actually like, oh yeah, we can't do it because I think our floor joists went the other way.
Oh, you would.
So we had to like
go
drill through
them
each
all.
one.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And then your house falls in on you.
Yeah.
And
No,
anyway,
good.
so he just hooked up this Bluetooth.
Right.
It's dope. Like,
Yeah.
can't even tell.
Amazing.
Because I was like, oh, won't it lose some of its sound? He's like, well, no, it's across your living room. It's not like a football field.
Right.
So
Yes.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess the biggest thing about it is because they want it to be water resistant or waterproof.
Right.
So now it only comes with Bluetooth earbuds, which is going to be baller.
Yeah.
I'll just be rocking them everywhere.
Yeah. I don't like earbuds though. They don't feel good in my ears. I have small ears.
Me too.
Right.
But I feel like it'll be worth it if they're Bluetooth
Maybe.
and not. I had Bluetooth earbuds before. They were like, I think they were the Beats by Dre one.
Okay.
Didn't use them more than a couple times.
Right.
Because because it was wired together, and then there's the battery, and they kept falling out.
Right. Yes.
Now I got Beats by Dre over the ears,
Yep.
which are amazing, and like block out everything and everyone at the gym. It's
Yep.
pretty dope. But anyway, but it's still for those of you who insist on using 125-year-old technology to listen to your brand new music on a computer more powerful than anything that ever went into space, it will have a adapter for your earphones to go into your
the USB.
What this? It's not technically a USB.
Like the lightning.
The lightning port. Or this isn't a lightning port. Actually, this is. I don't know. Whatever this is on the
fancy
iPhone.
Pants, tiny little small one that you plug in the power to.
It is a lightning connector.
Yes.
Good thing we got our Google guy back finally.
Matt nailing
oh,
it.
look, he's on the iPhone 7 page. Okay, so what else has it got?
10 out of 10.
Well, the different colors of black. So now you have black and jet black.
Ooh.
That's like when you're looking at car colors.
Yeah.
And it's like black and then like marble black.
Right.
And you're like, I can't really. And then there's silver and granite. And you're like, oh, those look exactly the same.
Are those different?
But one of them's a premium color. You pay like an extra $300.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's got like an extra coat of like clear coat on it or something.
So this is going to have a
But hang on, is it any bigger?
They got two sizes, so they got a 4.7 inch.
Well, I have a 6. I have a 6 plus. So what's the equivalent? Is it the same?
iPhone 7 and the iPhone.
No. But what's the size of it compared to a 6 plus? Because this can't be more than. This is more than 4 inches wide, isn't it? Hang on, my moleskin book has a.
For sure.
The listeners are like, we don't care how big your phone is, Jody. But you know what? I care. This is important stuff. Humans are hardwired to love change, but love progress, but hate change. You
Right.
notice that?
That's true. That's true.
They want everything new, but don't come in my neighborhood and try and change anything.
Yeah, forget that.
Okay, hang on. I almost got it here.
Is that a pure?
I'm excited to be talking to you right now.
Yeah,
this
is good.
I'm happy, you guys, and I'm happy. Our listeners, you guys, I love you guys. We did the math, and we figure there's a couple thousand of you out there that
It's actually the same.
same size.
Samesies.
So that would be the same as a 6, and then that's a 6 plus. So my 6 plus is 5.5 inches.
Yeah, that's the 5.5 inch diagonal LED backlit widescreen.
Right.
It's not including the overall.
No, but the screen's 5.5.
Yes.
Why? I thought there was a ruler in this thing.
You have everything else.
Oh, there it is.
in that
There it
book.
is. Hang on.
I think they take a. Is it a diagonal?
It's diagonal.
Yeah, it's a diagonal measurement of that screen. is what they
Like corner
take.
to corner.
Yeah.
Like TV style.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. This is because like the way it should be measured, which is along the bottom, right? Because that's really how wide it is. Don't corner to corner me. I know what you're doing.
Trickery.
It's like you're honey dicking me.
Yeah,
that's what you're
right.
doing.
That's right.
Anyway, that's like just over 4 3/4 inches. So that's the same. That's the same size then. Anyway, you can complain all you want that your 100-year-old headphones won't work. I'm just tired of paying $32 for a piece of wire
Right.
with two
Yeah.
tiny little speakers on the end. Whenever you lose it, because I lose them all the time. Kids will like lose them, but the ones next to my bed have been there going on 2 years.
Not bad.
Yeah, I've like rolled over with them and like pulled it apart,
Right.
but then like I can just like stretch the sheathing back over it and it's fine. It's pretty funny.
We had to go buy a new power cord for MacBook. Psh, I'm not handing those things out because the same thing, like the part where it connects came away because it's been kicked out of the wall by.
Did
the
you try
dog,
returning
the
it?
kids. No, it's been like
No. But they probably would have exchanged it for free.
Didn't do that.
Check this out.
It's like 4 years old.
I bought because for my presentations I do, I use a Mac Air.
Right.
It has no ports. It only has like a Lightning 2 port or something. I forget what it is. And so you plug in the adapter, and then you plug in the VGA thing or the HDMI or whatever. Right. You can buy an adapter for whatever.
Yeah.
But it's kind of actually pretty dope. You open up the presentation mode on your phone and on the computer, and then the phone is now your control, like your remote.
Ooh, I like that.
And you get like you can see like so I'll be up on stage and I can like look at the next slide on the phone,
yeah,
and that like helps me prepare for like what my next thing to talk about is.
I like that.
Pretty cool. It's pretty
So
cool.
smart.
So I'm able to wander a lot more because I used to have to be able to see the screen of the computer.
Right.
Now I can put it up anywhere, and as long as it's within Bluetooth or Wi-Fi range.
Yeah, you can cruise the stage.
Well, I was when I remember when I went to the Saskatchewan Writers Fest in Moose Jaw.
Yeah.
They had my computer all the way in the back of like a 500-person theater.
Right.
I think it was 500-person, but you know how at the back there's like the projection booth.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, because this is an old-timey theater, so it still had a projection booth. They had converted it to like a production booth because it's mostly plays and stuff there.
Right.
And so my computer was there, but I was connected to it through the Wi-Fi, so I was able to do my presentation. And then
Nice.
there's this thing where you can like press on the screen and red dot their presentation.
No way.
Like, you know, like instead of having a laser pointer,
yeah.
I can just press it, put my finger on the screen, and a red dot appears where I'm pressing.
Man, that's awesome. I'm so far behind. I just downloaded an Apple TV remote onto my phone, and I was like, this is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've had that since like iPhones had curved backs.
Yeah. Well, man.
But I still have an original Apple TV, which I was at
Me too.
Nick's place,
Yeah.
and he's got one of the new Apple TVs.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
My buddy has it.
It's amazing. Like, you can download apps now.
Yep.
It has a hard drive because he's like, oh, it's like $230. I'm like, Apple TV is like $85. What are you talking about? It's cheaper than when I bought it. And he's
Right.
like, oh no, it's worth the $200 because you get like 65 gigs and all this. And he's like, look, I downloaded CBC, I downloaded the news, I downloaded like
Cool.
the weather, because that was my thing about Apple TV, because we don't have cable anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't get to watch the morning news. I don't like get to watch sports unless I pay for the MLB app or whatever, and that's like what was it, like $30 a year, and the NFL app or the NBA
No.
app.
I looked into the NBA one. It's like $300.
The
for,
NBA,
like,
the
year.
NBA one's
Like,
the most
come
expensive,
on.
but they have the most games.
Yeah, there's a ton
I think.
of games. I think it's like every team.
It's every team, every game,
Yeah.
and you can watch them
Which is
all.
a
And
ton
it's
of
like that's a lot of basketball.
Right. Yeah.
And the NFL one, I think, is $100 a year.
Okay.
Or something like that. But the MLB one, it was cheap enough that I bought it to watch when the Blue Jays had that run,
Right.
to watch like the last couple games.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
cheap
It
enough.
was
I was
worth
like,
it.
it's not that bad.
Right on.
So anyway, I want to get the new Apple TV, and I'm not a big like upgrade phone guy.
Yeah.
But I'll be getting an iPhone 7.
Yeah.
Faux show.
I have to go to a 6. I have a 5.
Hey, I might have a 6 Plus available very soon.
Oh, is that right?
Maybe sometime around the end of the year.
Maybe we'll talk.
You know, I mean, it's only been dropped 1,000 times.
Yeah.
This is my second one since I
Oh, yeah,
dropped
that's
my
right.
first one after someone stole my 5C. I was perfectly happy with the 5C.
Yeah.
I
have the 5S, and it's good.
I've
I like it.
Again, though, we've talked about this. The 4S was the best iPhone
Yeah.
so far.
Tank.
Tempted to go back to it. Oh yeah, like you could like be in a nuke zone, and they'd find like your shadow against the wall and your ashes on the ground, and your iPhone 4S would be in the pile.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked about the iPhone just for that one thing, and that's so silly, but I don't know. I just am. I'm so weird like that. I get mad like when I read things about how we're like less tough than our ancestors,
Right.
because I'm like, bring that caveman here, I'll kick his ass. But then at
Yeah.
the same time, I can't wait to get my hands on the next shiny thing.
Right, yeah. Get rid of these wires that are hanging.
Oh yeah, like I'll be like, you know, Arnold's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding is good enough, even though it was written in the 70s. But then I'm like reading like Men's Health, like, ooh, what's the latest fad?
Right, yeah, of course.
Oh, ketosis. Ooh, that's such a fancy word. And then you read his book, and he's like, yeah, never go into ketosis. And I'm like,
Huh?
well, he might know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
They looked pretty bodied up.
They were bodied up for sure.
Yeah. Him and what was his buddy's name?
Franco Colombo.
Franco Colombo. Yeah, the guy who still can't really speak English. It's kind of funny.
For sure.
So, it's September 7th.
Yeah, all day long.
All day.
Right up until tomorrow.
So, a year ago, were you at my book launch?
Yes, sir.
We were at the Canadian War Museum a year ago, where I was getting interviewed by my man Kevin Newman, who
That's right.
just got announced to take over W5 on
Yeah.
CTV for Lloyd Robertson.
That's
What?
huge.
Can't wait to have him on the podcast, talk about it.
Yeah.
And
I've
it's been a year since Unflinching, The Making of a Canadian Sniper by Jody Mitic, printed by Simon & Schuster, and still available at all bookstores and on Amazon, came out.
That's right.
And it's still on the top 25 bestseller list.
Doing well. People
For its
loving
for
it.
its category,
Right.
And I've explained this before. Bestseller doesn't mean you're selling out bookstores all over, and
Right.
they just can't keep. It just means you've sold more books than the next guy, and it could be literally. There was a week where I went from number 2 down to number 7
Right.
or something, and the difference between me being at number 2 and number 7 was 8 books.
Right. No way.
And
That's
my
funny.
publisher called me because I called them how did we drop so far? And they're like, Joey is 8 books.
Right. Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And then because I was like, well, you should go to number 1,
Right.
and they were like, well, that guy sold 10 more books than you.
Right.
I'm like,
You're like,
man.
I'm going to chapters right now.
Yeah, right. I'll buy my own books.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm super proud of that,
That's awesome.
and it's been such a journey. I don't know, just the love and support I've gotten has been amazing. The people of my ward here, Innis Ward in Ottawa, have been very understanding and have given me the time to go off and sell the book and promote it. But I'm starting to get called home.
Right.
They're like, Jody, we miss you.
The dinner bells ring. Ding, ding, ding.
Well,
ding.
it's politics, right? So
For sure.
if you can't show up, they wonder what your priorities are.
Right.
And frankly, they should ask, right?
Yep.
I was very careful. I booked everything around committee and council and stuff. But I got some babies to kiss.
Okay. Yeah. Some hands to shake.
for
some babies
sure.
to
But
kiss.
it's been a good year.
Right on.
But the book is finally at a point where I think I can relax about it and let it just kind of coast on its own for a while,
Right on.
and get back to the job of politicking, which is going pretty good.
Good stuff.
It's a great job, I know sometimes I'll call you up sometimes and be like, rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
But what job doesn't have that,
For sure.
right?
For sure.
And at the end of the day, you did your best to make lives better for the people in your neighborhood.
That's awesome.
Or in your ward, however you want to define it. I walk out my door, and people are walking by, they're walking their dogs, they're driving, wave, hey, I'm in my office.
Yeah.
I have an office downtown at City Hall, but really my office is my area. I could
Right.
never leave my area and be okay.
Right.
Maybe I'll try that. I'll just call into council.
There you go.
No, you can't do that.
No.
No,
not
they wouldn't
happening. No. How would you go ahead and show up?
Well, it is 2016.
Yeah.
We actually could just set up a whole bunch of iPhones and go to FaceTime,
That's right.
live.
Yeah.
You can do group chat and FaceTime, can't you? Or Skype? For sure you could.
yes. There's.
But
gotta be.
being government, right? We wouldn't just because we always try and come up with these things let's have a thing where they can track people can track their bus or whatever online and I'm like, yeah, why don't we just wire them all into Google Maps?
Right.
Just call Google.
Yeah.
They've got it down.
They've got it figured out. for
I don't
sure.
even need when I bought my new Jeep, I didn't even get a GPS because I'm like, no, I got Google Maps on my iPhone.
Yeah. Oh no. Of course, it's awesome.
And they're like, oh, do you want a CD player? And I'm like, no, again, I have my iPhone.
A what player, sir? A what
Actually, when I was in Shiloh, when I went to Winnipeg,
player?
went to Manitoba, I rented a Chevy Impala. Did I talk about this on
No.
on the podcast?
Nope.
Plugged my phone in, and finally, because I've been saying this for years, when you buy a car, it shouldn't be, do you want Bluetooth connectivity or the auxiliary cable? It should be what iOS or what OS do you have on your phone? Are you Bluetooth? Are you a BlackBerry or iPhone or Samsung? What are you?
Yeah.
And the car should come with that operating system.
Yes.
So, yeah, what are you, Android or iPhone or whatever, right? And so I plug my phone in, and suddenly it's on the screen.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember I was talking to you,
Oh,
and you're like, "This is amazing. I'm in love with this."
because I could talk and text.
Yeah.
I've never done that before. because I'm like so terrified to text while I drive. And when texting first came out, I totally did it. Right?
course.
Don't get me wrong. We're all guilty.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I speaking of, the OPP says now distracted driving, i.e., texting or looking at your phone, twice as dangerous as drinking and driving now.
Damn.
Twice as many accidents. This Labor Day weekend, which just passed,
Yeah.
was the most deadly for deaths in the OPP, the Ontario Provincial Police governed areas,
Right.
or policed areas, whatever. Or they're not governed. They whatever they have authority.
Right.
That's just these are just their numbers. Never mind RCMP or local police numbers. Deadliest in 20 years.
No way.
I think they said they had 18 fatalities. I think,
Yikes.
if I remember correctly.
That's nasty.
And that's including cars, boats, and recreational vehicles.
right.
I think they said there was like 16 car deaths, 1 boat, and 1 ATV death.
People got to put down the phones.
Well, it's not necessarily phone, but they're saying like
right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and
I
they
guess it
and
could
it's
involve a lot
getting
of
progressively worse every year.
different-
But they said now this year it's been 8 months, and they've handed out on average like 1,000 tickets a month for distracted driving with phones.
Yeah. Wow.
And that doesn't count seat belts or eating or putting on makeup or anything else. That's just straight up cell phone infractions.
Wow.
1,000 a month. And that's just the ones that they write. Like how many warnings do they give, or how many people do they wag the finger at in their car, or,
Right. Yeah.
you know.
That's a lot.
It's just, it took us how long have we been fighting drinking and driving, and people still do it?
Yeah.
So we should probably just prepare to like never feel safe in the car again until cars drive themselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And let the cars
Till
figure it out.
Google, which again is on the leading edge, figures it out,
Yeah.
and we have self-driving
They're
cars.
taking over for sure.
So yeah, 1 year since the book came out. Again, super honored, super privileged. Such a humbling experience to do that and have such the success that we did with it. Thanks Simon and Schuster for that. If you have a book and you think it's worth people reading, write it. Just write it. There's no magic to it. You write it, and editing and all that stuff. Once somebody decides to buy it, they handle that stuff.
Right.
But you definitely won't get a book published if you don't mail it around.
Yeah.
I mailed it around 3 times and got rejected 2.8%, 2.8 of those times.
Right,
And then
okay.
then Simon and Schuster took a chance,
Yeah.
and here we are.
There it is. Just
There
like
it is.
that.
Let's see. So kids are back in school.
Yes.
Pretty happy about that. I
Absolutely.
can stop paying for daycare. What?
Back to normal.
A few more bucks back in my pocket.
There you go.
Saw. What's your stepson's name again?
Jasper.
Sorry, man.
That's all good.
I can't wait to go see these brain specialists. Like honestly, I have like name, and just like there's a few minor things. Not that a name is minor, but I should remember Jasper's name by now.
Right.
I forgot the name of my buddy's wife's name the other day. We're like chit chatting. I'm like, blah blah. What about what's her face there? And he's like,
It just wasn't coming.
well, he's like rhyming out his secretary, like
Right.
his mail carrier, like his daughter. Is like, who you talking? And I go, your wife, man. And he's like, huh? You talk to her more than you talk to me.
Right.
And I'm like, just anyway.
Slipped out.
So, but I got recommended to these brain specialists by one of Jocko's buddy.
Right on.
I guess a bunch of Navy SEALs have gone and seen them, and they're in Texas.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. And it's not like, and they do some testing to see if it's related to the explosion or if it's related to the fact that I have had an undiagnosed ADD for most of my life, or if it's something
Right.
else
They can kinda
entirely.
sort out what's what.
There's no history of dementia or anything like that in my family, but my dad had a stroke, my uncle had a stroke and a hemorrhage at the same time, and so it basically killed him. I think Grandma might have had a stroke, but she was 80 something, so it just took her.
Okay.
I can't remember. Anyway, so there's a little bit of history of whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get that looked at some point. Jody 3.0 is rolling along. Hey,
Yeah.
you saw me
Looking
a week
good.
ago. How do I
Looking
look?
Good. Things are coming along.
Down to 80 days.
Yep.
80 T minus 80 days and counting.
The crunch is on.
The crunch is on. It's no.
No, well,
No.
a little bit.
Sorry. I got carried away.
I was about
Again,
to jump
I'm
in.
real happy to
I was
be
about
here.
to jump in.
I'm
with
real
you.
happy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have trouble falling asleep. So yeah, I got 80 days to go, and I'm back. I don't know. I'm feeling good
Yeah.
now. Yesterday. I had a weak moment, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta, because I've had my last meal of the day. I was telling you that. So I
Yeah.
got my scoop of peanut butter and my protein shake to look forward to, and I really look forward to that most nights.
For sure.
So I was like this close to cracking because it was a long day at the office, and I just like couldn't get back home in time. And so what I did is I pulled into the drive-thru and I ordered a coffee.
Right.
But and I don't even like sugar in my coffee anymore, but I was tempted because I haven't had sugar on purpose. I was eating some pistachios the other day, and they were cracked pepper pistachios,
Okay.
and they were so delicious that I went, wait a minute, how is the pepper sticking to the pistachio?
Right.
Flip the bag over, sugar coated, it's like a glucose fructose
Right.
type of
Okay.
so it's like a paste, I guess, with the pepper in it,
Right. Sneaky.
and like that's what holds it onto the nut, right?
Right. Yep.
Most of it's on the shell anyway because it's pistachios, but so I got some sugar that way. And in the morning, I make my coffee. I dump stevia in it, just like
Yeah. Eh?
says
You're-
like it's
you're
like
loving it.
it's like pinch, and I'm like I just dump.
Couple big dumps. in
Couple drops of vanilla or almond flavor, you know.
there. Okay. Yep. I like that.
Yeah, it helps. But anyway, then tonight on the way here, I was having a bit of a panic because I'm like, but I'm like, oh no, Luke will have coffee.
Yeah.
So you made me that espresso man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No problem. Keep things. in
Although I
line.
said we didn't have any sponsors, there was no coffee in front of me. There is coffee here, but not the guy that usually sponsors us. So if you know who it is, then you know who it is.
That's right.
If you're new to the show, listen to the rest
There
to
you
find
go.
out.
There you go. Dun dun dun.
Speaking of, I got a thing on Instagram. Some guy, I can't remember. I've been like sending messages back and forth with him. He wants to join the army, and he sends me a note and he says, "Hey, what's a good sniper manual to read?"
Right.
And I wanted to be like, well, if you're not a sniper yet, none, because you don't want preconceived like conceptions of what to expect.
Right.
But on my Instagram, there is a picture of a sniper book that most of us read. We don't take all of it seriously because it is a little old and it is a little. It when it was written, it played on the fact that most people didn't really know what snipers were, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and anyway, it's on my Instagram. If you want to go through it, it's there. Again, it's not like it's not bro science. It's a lot of like stuff that once you're a sniper, you kind of go, yeah, you don't need it.
Right. Yeah. No, I would never do that.
Yeah, or like
Tear out this
you can
chapter.
do it, or you could just be a good sniper,
Right. Okay.
right? Like it's like all these camouflage tips that you're like, when you don't know anything, you're like, oh yeah, like it's totally for sure.
right.
And then you get to be a sniper and you're like, yeah, I don't need to. Or there's easier ways to do that. Like I don't need to
Okay,
do
I
it this
dig it.
way. But it's good to learn from. Anyway. So yeah, so with Jody 3.0, it's going pretty good. I'm finally back in my early morning routine. But you know what I learned this morning?
What's that?
Listen to the body.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't say I learned it. I kind of got a dose of reality
Okay.
because I've been going hard 3 days in a row. So I'm
Yep.
feeling a little tight, but I like that feeling, like that feeling you get because you got a good lift in.
For sure.
But I get to the gym, and my right shoulder, we've talked about how it was partially maybe dislocated for a while. And I sleep on my right side a lot with my arm up.
Right.
And I think that's part of the problem as well, and I try not to anymore, but you wake up in the middle of the night and you're
It's
in your
crammed up
favorite
there.
position.
Of course.
So this morning I went in, started to lift, and my body was just like,
No, you do
oh,
not.
man, it was like, I thought a full-blown mutiny was about to happen.
Right.
So I just retreated to the stretching area at the gym.
Yep.
Remember that place? It was in between the weight room and the cardio room.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just laid on the mats with the foam roll and did that and just, did a little upward dog
Yeah. You might
Not downward dog, where you look up.
Cobra.
Cobra.
Yeah. Little back bending.
Yeah.
Little cobra.
Yeah. And you know what? I felt great all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt loose, felt good.
Sometimes that's the
no
best
more
thing.
soreness.
Sometimes that's the best thing.
Yeah, but the biggest thing, people have been asking me because the change has been I don't want to say dramatic, but it's been noticeable since I really buckled down. Like you've seen the change over the long period, but in the short term, in the last 10 days, there's been even I'm noticing it. There's been a pretty good improvement.
Yep.
Now that I'm actually knuckled down, and I've had a few people asking, I'm drinking a shit ton of water.
Yep.
5 liters a day minimum. And I carry around a 4-liter jug and a 1-liter jug, and usually when it's empty, like I'll even refill the 1 liter a few times. But the sleep and the water and it's true. Abs are 70-80% diet.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you can have a flat stomach and all that, but if you want abs, if you want to go all the way, it's all at that point. It's all diet.
Yeah, and it's in the details. Like small things can make a big difference.
So like what?
Like how you said, like the amount of water, right? And the amount of sleep can affect how your body's recovering and all these things. Like it's not just one thing is going to do it. When it starts to get down to it, it's all those details coming together. So staying disciplined with everything, that's really going to get
right.
you
So
there.
even like the little tiny bit of sugar from the pistachios on the day of your photo shoot, oh, no more abs.
Right.
Or is it that crazy?
I mean, it's not necessarily that crazy, but like that one thing can lead to another thing, right? And I find
Right.
Yeah. So if you're trying to go that far, that you need to just be as strict as possible.
You got to become like a zealot.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Go all in.
Yeah, I was looking at a friend of mine was showing me someone she follows on Instagram today, and she, in the picture that she showed me, like the girl's bodied up, like she's just like you can see every nook and cranny and ripple.
Body looks like a roadmap.
It's a roadmap,
Yeah.
and it leads straight to awesome, right?
Yes.
And it's and I'm like, well, what is she getting ready for? Like, why would she look like that? And so we would go through and she's like, oh, she just always looks like that. She's a trainer and this. I'm like, nah, that looks like that's show prep type stuff. Like you can be fit, but, and then we went through and I said, oh, see, like, look at that picture from 6 weeks ago. She's
Right.
not looking like that. So she's clearly been doing something.
Yeah.
Even if she's not getting ready for a photo shoot, she's trying out a new product or she's getting ready to launch a new something because
Yeah.
like this person is like, she's one of those Instagram fitness coaches.
Yep.
So she has clients, and then she has money she probably makes off all of her followers as well,
Right.
with some kind of promotion deal or something. So yeah, like so even if she doesn't compete, she was like there's a clear difference from 6 weeks ago to the one that she showed me from last week.
Yeah.
So and it's that easy. Like and the big one. Remember in Fight Club, Brad Pitt in that one scene,
Right.
and like. For years after, it's like, yo, man, I want to look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club.
Of course.
It's like, yeah, he looked like that for the day.
Yeah.
Or maybe like a couple days.
Yeah.
And then he had a drink of water and ate a sandwich.
It was all gone.
And well, I mean, you still keep it. Even like when I get my pictures at the show in November, I'll look like that for the day.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have a pizza
Yeah.
and a couple beers.
Yeah.
Or not beers, I'm a cider guy, but
Right. Yeah.
and it's good, and I'll still look good, but
It'll just be different.
just be a little different.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's good. But learned a good lesson this week, too, though.
What's that?
Well, after each workout, I got to do 15 to 30 minutes of cardio, depending on what day it is.
Right.
The 70s Rolling Stones ballad list
Yeah.
on iTunes Music,
Yeah.
not good for cardio.
No.
Longest 15 minutes of my life.
Not holding
It
it
was
down.
Crazy. I was like, please let it end.
You need more of that flip mode squat on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. That's not even a joke. I'm like, I love the Rolling Stones. They're one of my favorite, like everybody's favorite, but like, no, I really do love them. But never done them for cardio before,
Yeah.
big mistake. And once you're going, you can't, because I use the rowing machine, the erg.
Right. Yeah.
So I can't stop.
You're in.
And like start fiddling with the music at that point.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe the iPhone 7, the fancy pants one, you'll have some sort of voice command, or it'll just be put a little bug inside your brain and it'll know what
Telekinetic.
you're thinking. Thank you.
The Google chip implant.
That's right.
That'll be the competition in the future. Which
getting
implant
it
do you
for
want?
sure.
Samsung, Google, or iPhone?
Yeah, definitely.
Not
need
BlackBerry though.
Nah, BlackBerry. It's not gonna.
It'll
last
be
much
like
longer, man.
the other
It's
ones.
over.
The other ones will be implanting chips in your brain, and they'll be announcing wireless headphones.
Right? Yeah. Hey guys.
Hey, look what we got!
Yeah.
And it's 2025.
We redesigned our keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For all of you guys who like the tactile feel of a keyboard.
Yeah. We're bringing back the scrolly ball on the side.
The little mouse ball.
Yeah.
Right. Cool, man. 1995 called.
Yeah. Beat it.
Yeah, 2015 called. You got anything coming up you want to talk about?
No.
No. I got the firefighter gala tomorrow, the Ottawa firefighter gala.
Yes.
Pretty excited about
Right
that.
on.
I love the first responders. I say it before and I'll say it again. I'll say it every time. Thank you for protecting our civilization, which is basically what first responders do.
Absolutely.
Every day they deploy.
Yep.
They deploy every day out their front door and take on the worst things that can happen to us.
Badasses.
Badasses, and we need them.
Yeah.
They do hard jobs for not a lot of money and take a lot of risk, and we get to live these amazing lives that we have in North America. We're our little slice of heaven.
Yep. You got that.
I'm pretty excited about that anyway. Do you want to talk about the news at all? Or should we just jump into the anniversary?
Let's jump right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on Labor Day, it was the 10th anniversary of the battle that launched OP Medusa.
Yes.
If you're Canadian, you may remember this being mentioned in the news at the time. It was at the time the first ground offensive for Canada since Korea, and the first ever for NATO.
Right.
NATO's done a lot of air campaigns, never done any ground campaigns. But this was a NATO-led, I almost said exercise, operation.
Yep.
And it was led by the Canadians. And we launched at first light. And promptly we drove into a massive ambush.
Okay.
Took 4 dead, I think 14 wounded, and left 3 vehicles behind.
Right.
Like chaos. Yeah. So
right
it was.
Away.
So OP Medusa, what it was supposed to do is, and what it did ultimately, it just didn't go initially as planned. And everybody from private to general was basically in their first battle. Except for some of the, we had American units attached to us. We had Afghan units attached to us. They were all, they'd all seen their fair share of gunfights and stuff. Most of us, though, even those of us that had been to Afghanistan before, I had been to Afghanistan before, but in a totally different role and, even and in a different area.
Right.
Sorry, I got a little frog there in the back of my throat. And also, we just didn't have any incidents really when I was there. We had a couple of the guys get killed by a landmine strike, and then we had another guy killed and a couple guys wounded by a suicide bomber.
Right.
But there was no engagements like
was
rifle.
Less hostile.
Well, it was Kabul, and it was right after the Taliban had been pushed out. So it was mostly petty crime we dealt with, and trying to keep the warlords happy to the point where we could hopefully set up the capital for governing and whatnot. So yeah, we it was one RCR battle group which deployed there in August. As we were weeks before we arrived, though, the PPCLI were there, and somebody tweeted at me, "Hey, don't forget to mention the Dirty Patricias were there."
Right.
And I laugh, and yeah, they were there, but so they were there before us, and their recce platoon got ambushed at the white school in Panjwai.
Okay.
In the valley. so our objective, and they took 4 dead and I forget how many wounded. You know, like it was a bad day for them because they like Recce platoon is there for reconnaissance.
Yeah.
So they had been out doing reconnaissance in the area as a whole. Usually Recce platoon will break down into squads.
Right.
Or not, we don't call them squads, we call them sections. Or debts, depending on the size of the patrol. So you're talking about like 8, maybe 4-man patrols. They were patrolling as a whole, from what I understand, and they kind of that, or they were out doing their thing and they RV'd back at the school.
Right.
Which like rendezvous, like the RV is the school, so everybody be here by whatever time. And I should probably know the story a little bit better. But when they got there, you know, they were doing their thing. They were comparing notes. They were preparing for their next move, and I guess that's when the Taliban hit them.
Right. Okay.
And you know, they took like again, I said 4 dead, and I think they took probably 8 or 9 wounded.
Right.
And
wow.
like had to fight their way out of there like hard. You know,
Yeah.
it was a scrap. You know, Canadians usually give way more than we get though.
Okay.
Oh yeah. It's like that meme online, like the Canadians, the only guys that'll shoot you twice and say sorry.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Kill you dead and say sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, I never said sorry. So anyway, yeah, so the idea of our mission was we wanted to take that white school, get a little payback
Right.
for our boys.
Yep.
And then we were going to use that to bound into the village and begin to pacify.
Okay.
So no plan survives first contact with the enemy,
Right.
and the enemy has their own memo.
Of course.
So when we rolled in, Charles Company. So we did. Oh, and I think the other part of the tweet that I got was to remind me that it was one RCR battle group, but we had a company of PPCLI attached to us.
Right. Okay.
So they're the regiment out west. We're the regiment in this like central Canada and the east, and then the Vandus are Quebec, right?
Right.
And so each regiment has 3 battalions, and each battalion has 5 companies ish, depending on what it's for. So anyway, we assaulted at first light a little early. The plan changed. The general in charge decided to change the plan and not mention it to us for some reason. And I know him. We've talked about it. You know, he was in charge. He made a decision. It's the rest of his life. He's got to think about it.
Right.
Basically, what happened was we were supposed to have 72 hours of detailed reconnaissance and planning time.
Yep.
And for whatever reason, he decided that we got to go like right now.
Right. Okay.
So we did. And anyway, like I said, 4 dead, 11 to 14 wounded. I can't remember which, and 3 vehicles left on the ground.
Right.
And I call it like the Romans would call it going to see the elephant.
Okay.
Because the when they fought the Carthaginians, they used battle elephants, and the Romans had never, like most of them had never seen that, right? So you imagine like you're a foot soldier and an armored elephant is now charging at you.
Yeah. Unreal.
It's eyes the size of dinner plates, right?
Yeah.
So, for us, like I said, from private to general, it's the first time it's like we're looking at massed RPG fire. There was one dude on the Taliban side that was on a recoilless rifle.
Right.
It's an anti-tank weapon, and he really knew what he was doing.
Right.
I think he probably caused most of the damage. If I remember right. Yeah, nobody was shot, really. Everybody was killed by anti-tank weapons.
Right. Wow.
So,
and you guys weren't in tanks.
Well, when I say they're anti-armor weapons.
Right.
We were in armored vehicles.
Right.
But my sniper team was attached as we were an attachment. So, and I've talked about this. So when snipers show up, yay, the snipers are here, but it's we need a ride, we need a place to sleep, we need some food, we're out of water, wham.
Right. Yeah.
Feed us, water us, take care of us, and we'll shoot the bad guys for you, right?
Yeah.
So when the assault started early, because we hadn't really figured out where we were going to sit, what vehicle.
Right.
The plan was they were going to take the school, which was the first objective, right? Take that back. Yep. Taliban, that's ours again.
Yep.
Me and my sniper team were going to go up to the roof, targets of opportunity and protect the platoon that was doing the next bound into the objective area.
Right.
Because what's the first rule of combat is always have a foot on the ground.
Right.
So you always have, and then if you can have more than 1 foot on, and rock climbing is the same thing, right? You always want your 3 points of contact.
Right. Yep.
So it's the same thing with combat. You always want as many pieces of cover as you can get, all right? And you want to cover each other as much as you can. So we were going to be on the roof covering the next movement, and that obviously didn't happen. We ended up doing casualty collection, and anyway, it's in the book. It's Unflinching, the Making of a Canadian Sniper. It was everything you would think battle should be.
Yes. I remember reading that and thinking this is like this description of this battle. It's like watching a movie. Like it was like, oh my God, like so many things going on. It's like exactly how like a movie would portray it.
There was when you add up all, there's video online, you can find it.
Right.
There's even, so one funny part is, and it's, at the time it didn't, I was kind of laughing, but at the same time I kind of, was like, oh shit. So we were in this one lab, and so basically when the Taliban opened fire, they fired, and I don't know if it was an RPG or the recoilless rifle that they fired it at. One of the guys was in one of our G-Wagons, right? So the same as the Mercedes G-Wagon you would see on the street,
right?
But the military version.
Right on.
And they were up armored, which means that they're pretty tough.
Yep.
But they're not tough enough to take a recoilless rifle or an RPG in the windshield.
Right.
So the gunner, one of the guys drove up in that, or like a group of them. So the gunner went, oh, I'll aim at the weakest thing there.
Right.
Because the LAV 3 armored fighting vehicle some of them took like 15 RPG hits and kept on rolling.
No way.
Oh, they're pretty badass. Made in Canada, made down in London, Ontario.
Right on.
That's the thing that the government keeps getting in trouble for selling to Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Aha.
Yeah. Anyway, so my views, like jobs in London.
Yeah.
Like not the whole, but a lot of the economy down there depends on this place.
Right.
And Saudi Arabia is supposed to be an ally.
Right.
With a question mark? Not sure what they're up to, but they're not enemies.
Right, yeah.
Few human rights issues, though.
Right, okay. Yep.
Women can't drive.
Yeah.
Don't think they can vote yet. That might not be true. Can they vote? Google guy? So anyway, so the gunner just does that, kills one of our guys right away, wounds everybody else in the Jeep, well, except for the driver. The driver was fine, a little shaken, obviously. So anyway, our vehicle runs up to get the wounded.
Right.
And help evacuate the wounded. And we're just in the back. We have no idea what's happening as snipers. We're just waiting to for them to tell us, get out and go up to the roof of the school.
Right.
And they bring this guy that's wounded to our vehicle, and his shoulder is just destroyed. Like, it's just tore up. And he's the medic. He's one of the platoon medics.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so he but before they evacuated him, he was like trying to do first aid on the guys in the Jeep, and then when he went into shock, that was when he was just like
right.
So they as we're putting him in the back. Okay.
As of 2015, they can vote.
Oh, good.
There we go.
Right on. Awesome.
Progress.
So what was he saying? Oh yeah. So they bring the guy to the back of the vehicle as we're putting him. As I'm like, I get down on the ramp to help him in. Fun fact, snipers, we carry a lot of stuff.
Right.
So and because of the nature of our job, in our doctrine, we don't necessarily wear frag vests and ballistic helmets.
Right.
In my book, I even talk about this. So we weren't wearing it for this because, pitched battle is why you become a sniper to avoid it.
Right. Yeah. The intention wasn't to be there.
Yeah. Well, the modern battlefield, it's not like even World War II style stuff isn't necessarily doctrine anymore.
Right. Okay.
If we ever took on Russia or China or the States or like another like well-equipped military, that stuff might come out. But even then it's, like force on force is just a meat grinder.
Yeah.
So anyway, So yeah, anyway, so we might not have had frag vests and helmets on, maybe floppy caps and t-shirts.
A
And,
little dangerous.
and so, but anyway, as I'm loading them in, like another anti-tank round takes out another vehicle and kills 2 more guys.
Right.
I didn't know that at the time. I didn't realize, but so that hit like so close behind me that it like almost blows me off the ramp, and the heat wave goes over me. I feel like the concussion hit me, and I'm like, I turn around, and I grab and then I see the chaos behind me. And I just grab the dude and I throw him into the back of the vehicle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, we got to get you to the casualty collection point. So I'm like, okay, he's loaded in. So then our lav gets stuck in the sand.
Right.
And all these labs were getting stuck in the sand, right? And we only had really 2 pieces of engineering equipment with us. We had this thing called a Zamboni.
Right.
No, not Zamboni. Zettelmeyer. We had a Zettelmeyer. That's like the thing that bends in the middle with wheels and a big bucket on the front.
Yeah.
So we had that with like hillbilly armor on it. And then we had this bulldozer that I think, if I remember right, was borrowed from the Brits.
Right.
Again, with hillbilly armor.
Yeah.
Slowest thing out there. And it clickety-clanked all over, pulling lavs and everything. And it got hit a couple times, but it just kept clickety-clanking along.
Amazing.
Driver was wounded, like all kinds. Anyway, so our vehicle gets stuck. I'm like, well, this guy's like bleeding out here, and there's no room to move in the lav.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. I shouldn't say he was bleeding out, but he was hurt pretty bad. So, drop the ramp, throw him over my shoulder. Me and my buddy run a couple 100 meters to the armored ambulance. And here's the funny part, right? So we get there, we load him into the ambulance, and we're like, "Hey, it's one of your own. Get out here and take care of him." So they take him, and then we don't really want to run across the field with vehicles driving everywhere, like mortars coming down, and machine gun fire going in, interlocked machine gun fire. So we're like, yeah, why don't we just chill here for a minute and wait for the lav to get unstuck?
Seems like a good idea.
And and also the ambulance was alone and more casualties were coming in, so we're just
Right.
kind of like, well, we'll stay here and like provide security, and we'll wait and see what. And then so our lav gets pulled out of the sand, and promptly drives away.
Right. See ya.
Well, we're attached, right?
Right.
So when they do a head count, okay, Luke, Matt, and Jody are here. The guys that are supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And for all they know, we deployed out to do sniper stuff.
Right.
Right? So they just drive off. But the problem with that is my radio was in it because it was in my backpack
Yeah.
that I had left behind. And this is before we got the little radios. This is like my radio weighed 30 pounds. I could talk to like satellites with it, but
Right.
a little heavy.
It was huge.
We didn't
yeah.
have the little cool M-Biter radios yet
Right.
that they had on later tours. But so I have no way to be like, hey, guys.
We're over here.
Yeah, because the ambulance drives away at this point, and now every other vehicle is driving away because we're going to regroup.
Right.
So we pulled a little Mogadishu mile
Right.
from remember that movie Black Hawk Down?
Yes, sir.
Where everybody drove off and left them.
Yeah.
So there's me and my 2 snipers, and we're just. I'm like,
Oh,
well,
shit.
start fucking running, boys.
Yeah.
Doo-doo-doo.
Go let go.
And so we're running. Just as we're about to run away, though, this like American guy wanders over, and he's like, "Have you guys seen a helmet?" And I'm like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, I took my helmet off. I was helping some of the casualties, and it's gone."
No, man.
And I'm like, eh. I'm just like looking around. I'm like, what? I'm like, no, I haven't seen your helmet, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And then his Humvee like pulls up. He jumps in. And we're like, oh, wait a minute. Oh.
Can't get that right. Oh.
Yeah, can we get it? Oh, okay.
I'll find you a helmet. We can get it right.
And then, so anyway, we start running away. And we find this like medic, another medic. And he's just kind of like standing there staring off into space.
Right.
And so I'm like, hey, guys, keep running, keep running. I walk over to him like, hey, man, what are you doing? And there's like, we're still getting shot at. There's mortars landing like, in random spots. And he's like clearly a little shell shocked or not. Like, he's just like, a lot of us were like,
Right.
like a lot of guys were just kind of like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. Chaos.
And he's like, oh, I don't know. I'm like, this isn't even my weapon. I don't even know. Like,
Right.
so I'm like, all right. So we break. So the 4 of us run back. There's even video. Somebody caught video of us like running across the river, And it was like the Arghandab River was like the spot where the Taliban were like, okay, you're on the other side of the river.
Okay, right.
So no more shooting at you.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
And anyway, so that was the funny part. We had to run.
Right.
Our ride left us. So, but anyway, that was like most of our first real taste of battle.
Right. Okay.
A couple of, we'd had a few like small incidences leading up to it. And like I said, the PPCLI had done some advance to contact on the enemy. And that means like you just go out looking for him. Like, he's in an area. So you go out and you like walk until somebody sees each other and you get in a gunfight.
Right.
And then they had done the reconnaissance and all that stuff as well. But this, like I said, in the history books, this is the first NATO offensive and the first like offensive where you draw a line and you're like, everyone forward.
Yeah.
And it was, again, it was designed to push the Taliban out of the Panjwai district. And it did eventually. We thought up a plan. The next morning, too, though, we got strafed by an A-10.
Right.
American Air Force A-10. Not the best morning.
Yes, I can imagine.
So what was supposed to happen was we had to withdraw from that assault, like I was telling you. 4 dead, 3 vehicles. That wasn't why we withdrew. We withdrew because one of the F-18s or F-16s or whatever it was dropped a 500-pound bomb that didn't go off.
Right.
So the commander on the ground, I actually didn't know this when I wrote the book. I found this out after.
Okay.
And because at the time I was really bummed that we pulled back.
Yeah.
I was like, just because we took some dead and wounded and we lost a few vehicles, that's still our objective.
Right.
So then, but when this bomb landed and didn't blow up, he was kind of like, why don't we just get away from that thing? Because it was like right in the path we needed to take to get to the objective.
Of course.
And if it went off, like it would be no bueno.
It's a big explosion.
It'd be pretty bad.
Yeah.
So anyway, the next morning, but it was like, okay, and tomorrow morning we're going to go back.
Right.
And so in the morning, though, that's when the A-10 mistaked the garbage pit fire that the guys had lit for the fire he was being zoned in on by the forward air controller to shoot at.
Right.
Because all night it was just airstrike against the position.
Right.
We basically, so instead of taking the school in one piece, we leveled it.
Yeah.
With aircraft and artillery, like just destroyed it.
Dust.
It was like, okay, fine, you won't let us have it. We're just gonna break it.
Yeah.
So we leveled it, and that was done overnight. We bipped the vehicle. It's called blow in place. So the guy called in airstrikes on all of our own vehicles.
Right.
Because they're full of radios and encrypted equipment, like so you don't want the enemy can't have that.
Yeah.
GPSs with all of our security codes and stuff. But the lab is like a rolling house to the troops.
Right.
So all their, if you're one of the guys that lives in the lab, that's all your stuff.
Right.
Because your rucksack is in it.
Yeah.
So I think everybody in the vehicle had a laptop and a brand new iPod. And
Right. Yes. Yeah. Tons of real cool stuff.
oh yeah, like all kinds of crazy technology was
Yeah.
jammed into the. Everyone, they all had Xboxes.
For
like,
sure.
oh, you totally had an Xbox back there.
I was carrying it with me just in
Yeah,
case.
you never know.
Yeah.
You had like 18 like Rolexes. Like
Right.
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, no.
Gotta keep track of time out here.
I'm just kidding. It was funny, like, because we're all like, oh man, I'd be claiming all kinds of stuff, like
Yeah.
brand new boots, like anyway. But anyway, so yeah, the airstrike happened, killed Mark Graham. He was a former Olympian, and basically rendered Charles' company battle ineffective.
Right.
Like there was so many casualties from that. We're lucky it was only 1 dead.
Right. Wow.
Because an A-10 shoots bullets the size of your water bottle, maybe bigger.
Yeah. It was.
They're 40 millimeters across.
Right. Okay.
Remember I've talked about caliber?
Yeah.
So my pistol is 9 millimeter,
Yeah.
right?
And these are 40.
40 millimeter.
Yeah. It was.
So it's 4 centimeters. And it's like, the bullet itself is armor piercing and or frangible, which means when it hits the ground, it explodes like a grenade.
Right. Okay.
And they like shoot a mix.
Devastating.
Yeah. So like the armor, like, because they're designed to kill tanks.
Right.
But they're really good at killing whatever you point it at.
Yeah. No kidding.
And so the gun sounds like ripping as it shoots.
Right.
If you want to hear something cool, Google A10 firing.
Okay.
It's like and that's a really comforting sound until it's landing on
Until
you.
it's in the wrong spot.
Yeah. So, a lot of my buddies got hurt that day. A couple of the vehicles were hit. But 10 years ago.
There you go.
10 years. We're having a little reunion in Petawawa. Yeah. It's just so weird to think. Like, I was 29.
Right. Just a pup.
I'm 39.
Correct you on the main armament for the A10. It's actually 30 millimeter.
Is it? Why did I say, what's 40 millimeter? No, grenades are 40 millimeter. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. 30 millimeter. Same as the Apache, but the Apache gunship's gun, although it's 30 millimeter, is a different kind of gun.
Right.
I believe even a different kind of bullet or round.
Right.
Thanks, Google guy. We're going to get all of these tweets or texts like, what's up? Sniper doesn't even know what's on the...
No, it's not.
First of all, I'm not in the Air Force. Second of all, it's been 10 years. Okay?
Yeah,
So
right.
just relax out there. All the gun geeks are just waiting to like,
I got him.
oh, we got him. And now they're like, oh.
Yeah. Well,
And frangible doesn't necessarily explode. This is the ammo tac talking, but it kind of fragments and shatters.
so it makes a big mess.
So Google the A10 round, the anti-personnel round, and tell me if it's not an HE.
Okay, because you mentioned frangible.
Well, I said frangible, but maybe, again, literal Larry over there.
I'm just worried about it maybe.
I know historical accuracy. I get it. Dick. Just let me
Too
tell my
funny.
story, bro.
Dang.
That's like, it's one of those things, we all have war stories, and what do they, in the Army, we go, strap on your helmets, troops, because you're about to hear all the crazy stories.
Right. Okay.
And it's the funniest is when you got, like, when I was a young guy, like, some of the guys there might have had a few minor engagements in Bosnia and that.
Okay.
But when I got in, like, Bosnia was like, oh, like if you were to Bosnia, you basically you've been through World War II and then
Okay,
some. Like,
yeah.
the stories we would hear.
Right.
The best though was like one time there was this one guy telling stories, and like, when you're a 19-year-old new guy, you're just like, tell me everything.
Just soaking it up.
And like, I'm in my mind, why would you lie about anything, right?
Right.
It's so easy to get caught.
Yeah.
So anyway, but you don't think. So anyway, you're a little gullible, is my point.
Right.
And the one corporal, and he was one of those guys who was like a little old to be a corporal.
Okay.
So you'd been there in that rank for a while.
Yeah.
So he's like talking about how, driving through whatever, and there's like, you can hear the rounds impacting on the side of the carrier, ping, 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 and we're all like, really? It's like, oh, I thought the M113 was, it's okay at deflecting bullets, but because if you don't know what an M113 is, it's a really old armored personnel carrier.
Right.
But anyway, like, if you shoot at it enough, you're totally going to penetrate. Anyway, blah. So we're all just like, oh, wow, really? That's crazy. Oh, my God, they were shooting at your carrier? Because it's the UN. It was the UN, so they're painted white.
Right. Okay.
With the big UN markings. They're still shooting at it? That's great. And then one of the younger corporals was like, hey, man, I was there. I don't remember ever getting shot at like that.
No.
And the guy's like, what do you mean? You weren't in the same spot as me. And he's like, no, I was totally there. I was even in your vehicle. We never got shot at.
Oh, awful.
And the guy's like,
Oops.
well, maybe you don't remember it right. He's like, no, you're an idiot. And you're trying to impress the new guys. So
Right.
why don't you stop it?
Busted.
Oh, that was the day I learned.
Yeah.
There are just some people that, even though they have perfectly cool stories to tell, got to embellish.
They gotta juice them up a little.
Or they tell your story.
Right.
Did I talk about this or where I had one guy tell me he was a sniper?
No, I don't think so.
And I called over one of the other snipers. I'm like, oh man, check this guy out. He was a sniper, son.
Yeah.
And there's like, tell us some stories. And he's like telling us stories. And we're like, oh, yeah, I heard this story. That was you?
Right.
But it was like a mission we had been on.
Yeah. You're like, wait a minute.
Oh, we're like, oh, that was you? That's crazy. Yeah, that the whole battle group heard that story.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. That's so amazing. The only problem is we don't remember you being there. And the guy's like, what? And it's like, oh, well, we were there because we're snipers.
That was me.
But he had a cool job. He was an engineer.
Right.
He was a combat engineer.
Yeah.
They have crazy jobs.
Right on.
Like they get to blow shit up. They build bridges under fire. They like go into rivers and swim under the water and like lay mines. And, like
yeah, that's not.
They're
uncool.
badasses.
That's not uncool.
That's what I'm saying. Like the word combat is even in their name.
Right.
I'm not a combat sniper.
Yeah.
I'm just a sniper.
Right.
So it's just baffling to me when guys got to tell these weird stories.
Too funny.
Anyway, right now anybody who knows me who's like was there is like, stop telling stories, Jody. We all got a gunfight story.
Right.
Wah. Had to run across a river and get my little feetsies wet.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I lost my feet, huh? Yeah. How do you feel now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. I wish I had feet I could get wet still. Oh.
Indeed.
If you don't know, folks, that joke is because I stepped on a bomb and my feet were blown off.
That's right.
I'm not really crying.
Single tear.
No, it's dust in my eye, man.
Yeah, it is dusty in here.
I actually got teary-eyed this morning.
Yeah?
Listening to the radio.
What was it?
Well, if you're from Ottawa, then you know CFRA, and they're like the news talk, breaking news. Anyway, I like them. But their morning guy, Bill Carroll, he's a bit of a character. He did like the #1 radio show in LA for a while,
Okay.
and then he came home because, as he puts it, he married way above his ability. So whatever his wife wants, he's like, yes, dear.
Right.
So she was like, yeah, I want to move back to Gatineau.
Right.
And he's like, yes, dear.
Ah, okay.
And then you meet her and you're like, oh yeah, no wonder you do whatever she says.
Okay.
Yeah.
10-4.
Anyway, so he was telling a story about this couple they've been married 63 years, and because of they each have a certain type of medical condition that requires them to live apart.
Right.
Because the home the home the man needs is not suitable for her, and there's no space in either or for both.
Okay, yeah.
And so they played a clip of the woman saying, "I'm lonesome for him." Oh. And I was like, "Oh my God." It was just before I went to the gym, and I'm just like, 4 words had me checking dust in my eye.
Yeah, for sure.
63 years.
It's a long time.
What would you talk about?
Everything.
No, but I mean, leading up to that.
Yeah.
Sure, but at some point around 44, 46 years, I'm going to say, like, you just kind of peter out.
You've covered everything by then, for sure.
It's like you wake up in the morning at 63 years of marriage. You wake up in the morning and go, hey, are you still alive? Okay, cool. Me too. All right.
Awesome.
You want some breakfast?
Yes.
Yeah, let's roll.
Toast.
But yeah, that listening to her say that was just like, and even I was about to say it to myself in the Jeep, but like the radio guy, Bill Carroll's like, who even says the word lonesome anymore?
Right. It's just a sad word.
Right?
Yes.
I'm lonesome for him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man,
That's
look, I'm getting a little verklempt right now.
It's heartbreaking.
What are we at? We're at an hour, 15, 4:13.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is full
Oh.
of HEI. The ammunition for anti-purse close air, like close support,
Yeah.
is HEI, and they used to use depleted uranium,
Yeah.
and then that has political liabilities.
Yeah, but if World War III broke out, believe me, it'd be depleted uranium all up in that bitch. Yeah, they wouldn't waste time. Depleted uranium basically cuts a tank in half.
Amazing.
Well, the A-10. So all Matt was doing is confirming that the A-10, when used against people in soft-skinned vehicles, fires HEI, high explosive incendiary. So what that means is that when it hits, it explodes, and then it also can burn. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So if there's fuel in there, it does a really good job at catching.
Yeah. So if it goes through, a gas tank or hits a fuel dump or something, that shit's going boom.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what they did with the A10, and it's been around since 80 something.
Yeah, Cold War.
It's a Cold Warrior, but it was designed to take on the Russian horde,
Okay.
who outnumbered NATO at the peak. What was it, like 100-1 when it came to tanks or something crazy like that? Or
Damn.
their tanks weren't the best, but they had a lot of them.
yeah.
Like a lot of them. And then
Jeez.
and the Russians, like, even if a tank is obsolete, they still keep it in service.
Right.
Or they did. I don't like now they got some brand new tanks
Gas
coming
this
that
thing
are
up.
well, they got some new tanks coming out that are kind of scary.
Okay.
The T9. Well, there's the T92, I think, or something. The T9.
But that's the one with it's the multi-use chassis. It's one chassis, but it's like got any use you want. It's like it's a rolling artillery, it's main battle tank, it's a it's an armored fighting vehicle, it's anti-aircraft, it's a SAM launcher, but it's all one chassis.
Right.
And it's just baller
Okay.
for a
Nice.
tank. I don't know.
Right. Of course.
But anyway, so the A10 was designed they knew, because it's Europe. You're not going to fight a battle and not know where it's going to be at this point.
Right.
Right? So everybody knew, when the Russians came, it was going to be through a place called the Fulda Gap and a
Right.
few other places. So it's a little bit narrow. And so, the A-10 and the Apache and all these were designed to just hammer as many tanks as they could, because that's their thing, overwhelmed with numbers.
Right.
And so they built a 30 millimeter 6-barrel gun. What was the name? What's the name of the gun? The GU. Anyway, people are just hating this right now, and we're being so random with our facts too. But anyway, so they built the gun, and then they went, now we need a plane.
Right. Built the plane around the gun.
And they built. It's not a jet. It's a fan jet. So it's
Okay.
slow,
Right.
because to be accurate for ground fire, you need to slow down, right?
Right. Yes.
So, but this thing shoots 3,000 rounds a minute.
Ah.
So even though when they strafed us, it was literally a less than a second pull it, because he realized right away. So
Right.
he popped up over the mountain. He was told, look for the fire.
Yeah.
So he popped up over the mountain, and then that's when one of the guys lit the garbage fire, but with a little bit of gas. He threw a little gas on it, so it
Right.
kind of went. Whoosh. Just it was just all just coincidental timing for everything.
Yeah.
And so his crosshairs were right on the guy lighting the match.
Right. Okay.
But he realized it right away. But
Yep.
by then, so even a half second depression of that trigger,
Yeah.
you're looking at, I believe it was 130 rounds or something,
Right.
and it just hammered the whole position.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, like he was saying, you're talking about high explosive incendiary rounds. So each one's like a grenade hitting the ground, and it literally was landing right in between guys where they were sleeping. I went down, and I was looking at the impacts, and it was right in between where sleeping bags were.
Wow.
Oh, it was crazy, man.
Yeah.
But we still had 30 something guys wounded.
Wow.
Yeah, it says here there's at least 30 guys wounded and 5 who were wounded seriously.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, but it's a miracle we only had one dead
No kidding.
from an A-10 strike. Are you kidding me? But anyway, so with the A-10, it was designed to take on tanks. So because it's low and slow, it's going to take ground fire.
Right.
So the pilot sits in a titanium bathtub,
Yeah.
armored thing, and the plane, it's not jets, it's fan props or fan jets or whatever. And there's ones that during Operation Desert Storm had half a wing blown off and one engine, and just still managed to fly home.
No way.
Yeah, and the Air Force, the American Air Force, keeps trying to get rid of these things, and every time it's the troops on the ground that are
They want these things.
you cannot get. And then Congress turns around and goes, why you guys want to get rid of this thing so bad?
Right.
It's really good at what it does,
Yeah.
but at this point, it's probably getting expensive to run.
Right.
I don't know, maybe. And that's why they want this Joint Strike Fighter, right? The F-35 that we're buying, because it's a multi-platform.
Yeah, just all sorts of.
Well, the idea was it would be cheaper because the Army, Navy, or sorry, not the Army, the Navy, Air Force, and Marines could all buy it.
Okay. bulk
and
discounts.
then they could also sell it to other nations like us,
right.
right? And it was supposed to that was supposed to make it cheaper.
Okay. Yeah.
It didn't.
Can I plug my iPhone 7 into it?
No.
Okay. Well.
You know what? Actually, by
know
the
what?
time it finally gets operational,
Right.
you might be able to.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
The pilot might just get in and drop his iPhone into the slot.
Yeah.
And be like, hey Siri, let's go drop some bombs today.
That's right. And play my Busta Rhymes.
Playlist. Flip Mode Squad. I feel like I'm running out of juice right now, man.
Yeah, eh?
I'm just daddy's tired.
It's late.
I gotta get up at, if I'm gonna make it to the gym and make it to the morning breakfast event I gotta be at, I have to be in the gym by 5:15 at the latest.
Yes. That's excellent. Good.
Yeah, that's good.
Good.
Good. You got anything else you want to add?
No, sir.
Matt? Anything I should talk about? Oh, wait. Matt's got a couple more.
So there's Brad Pitt.
He is a handsome man.
And
Yeah.
then this is him in Snatch. So he looks like that all the time.
No, I'll go to the Fight Club. He's way more ripped there.
Well,
He's shredded wheat, this guy.
There that are distracting.
Well, no. Brad Pitt is one of those lucky dudes who just naturally is bodied up. But to look like that Fight Club, he even admits he trained for that for months.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Knowing that scene was coming.
He's holding it down.
And then, in Snatch, once you have that body, you want to keep it. So he probably maintained it a little bit, but he still has that natural DNA.
Right, yeah.
And Troy as well.
Yeah, but that's still not, see, he's a lot thicker there than Fight Club, and he's not nearly as ripped and defined, right? Like, for that scene in Fight Club, he probably didn't have a glass of water for 2 days.
Probably a little cotton mouth.
Yeah, so they were like, cut. He was just like, got the Pedialyte, and like,
Give me that water.
he's like plugged in a saline drip.
For sure.
Okay, are we done admiring Brad Pitt's physique?
That's him younger, too. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's one of those naturally bodied. Like, look, man, I looked like that when I was a teenager, except I'm not as devilishly handsome as that guy. I ain't mad at Brad Pitt at all.
He had it going on, for sure.
Had it.
Hey, still does. Let's be honest. Yeah.
He landed
right.
Angelina Jolie.
Hey. Tough but fair. Tough but fair.
Tough but fair. Oh, hey, man. This is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Jody Mitic podcast fans, I want to thank you guys once again for tuning into number 14. I'm a little tired. I'm a little hangry. And I'm not hangry. I'm hungry and tired. How would we say that? Hungry and tired.
We haven't come up with something yet.
Anyway, I'm hungry. I'm tired. I got to get up early. Oh, that's an actual yawn. Oh, man, I couldn't stop that one. The anniversary of OP Medusa just happened. It's a 1-year anniversary of my book. If you haven't read my book, it's available on Amazon if you're outside of Canada. It's available on Kobo. What's the Amazon e-reader?
Kobo.
Kobo. If it's available on Kindle, in Canada, you can get it at any bookstore. Might be able to find some at Costco still, but I don't know. If you ever see me on the street and you have it on you, I will happily sign it for you. But that was 1 year ago. And 10 years ago, we saw that elephant. And we did the job that our government asked us to do. And I don't regret a second of it. I volunteered. I fought to get on that tour. I loved every second of that mission except for the last step.
Yeah.
And, I only bring up the anniversary because it's a moment in Canadian history.
Yeah.
It's going to go down as one of those... in 50 years, it's like when we read about the battles in Korea, the unit advanced, took light casualties and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what, though? But those casualties that they talk about, those light, suffered only 4 dead and 13 wounded when they read that in the history books. Well, each one of those dead has a name.
That's
each
right.
one of those wounded has a name. Each one of those vehicles had, some troop had lovingly kept it running, had done the maintenance check on it that morning, kicked the tires and checked the oil.
That's right.
And then we had to blow up our own stuff. So think about that when you read about, the battles of the past that set our civilization. Like in Canada, we have the Plains of Abraham in Quebec City, where the British defeated the French and took the New World.
Right.
Right. In the States, they have their Revolution, and then their Civil War. Right. When you read those numbers, each one of those is a soldier, regardless of what side they were on. They all just wanted to go home, hug their kids. Well, but for most of history, a lot of them were conscripted.
Yeah.
So the one thing we definitely got going for us today is we're all patriots and volunteers, and not that they weren't in the past, but we've gotten to a point where you can fight wars with all volunteer armies the way we do it. So I think we're doing something right that way.
Definitely.
We have a super professional army, very well trained, very well equipped because of Afghanistan. And when we got some UN peacekeeping missions coming up. So think about that. Your troops will answer the call. When I joined, we didn't have any money. We didn't really have a purpose. The public, we had a government elected on slashing our budget, and people loved it. And we still showed up when the country called. Okay, enough philosophizing here, but anyway, to our listeners here and around the world, we love you. Thanks for being part of the tribe. Thanks for tuning in. Coach Luke Rowan, where can they find you?
On Instagram and Twitter as Coach Luke Rowan.
As Coach Luke Rowan. And he's there, guys. He'll answer your stuff. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us a review because it helps us get moved up. Maybe one day we could be on the front page of the iTunes podcast page.
That's right.
Subscribe on YouTube. We are on the YouTube. It's the Jody Mitic Podcast. We're on Instagram, the Jody Mitic Podcast. We're on Twitter, the Jody Mitic Podcast. We're on Facebook, the Jody Mitic Podcast. What if they want to email us, Luke?
The Jody Mitic Podcast at gmail.com.
Boom. Until we get our own website, which again, I know we keep saying it, but it's coming.
Yep.
It's coming. We're in no rush. We just want to make sure we keep putting out quality product. Yeah, so if you want to know anything, you can email us at the Jody Mitic Podcast. You can find me, Jody Mitic, JodyMitic, anywhere on the web. Matt, are you still don't want to be found?
He's
okay.
undercover. I respect that.
He's cool with that. Remember, we're the good guys. We're on the right side of history, so when you go to bed at night, tuck your kids in, give them a kiss, remind them that if they're going to be anything in life, they want to be a good guy. And if you want to be anything, make sure you just try to make yourself a little bit better every day. This is Jody Mitic, Jody Mitic Podcast, signing off. Out.